Following behind drug trafficking, human sex trafficking is the second largest growing industry in the United States. In just 1 year, it makes over $150 billion. That's more than Nike, Google, or Starbucks combined. Rebecca Bender is the author of the book Human Trafficking Prevention Project. In this book, she discusses the ages that are most affected by sex trafficking. She says that the most common ages are between 14 and 24 years old. 80% of these people are women. And although we most associate females with sex trafficking, it's also becoming more common for men to get involved. Celebrities today are glorifying the idea of sex trafficking more and more. In fact, in 2003, Snoop Dogg admitted to Rolling Stone magazine that he had been a part of a pimp house. A pimp is somebody who controls prostitutes and arranges their clients in hope to get money for themselves in return. Teens today tend to think that sex trafficking is like the movie Taken, where two girls go off to Europe and stay in a hotel room and people come in and snatch them and put them into sex trafficking. And although this is going on in other countries, it's just as likely to be happening in our own communities. This has happened in all 50 of the United States. Every single state has had an incident of sex trafficking reported. And it's common in big cities as well as small towns. The most common places for sex trafficking, for girls or guys to be lured into sex trafficking, is the mall, bus stops, social media sites, or even their own schools. In fact, a third of runaway teens are lured into sex trafficking within 48 hours of leaving home. Sex trafficking is broken into 3 subcategories. The first category is familial, where a relative puts another relative into the industry. Most of the time they do this because they're desperate for money or drugs. An example of this would be a father placing his daughter into sex trafficking because he wants to make money for himself so he can buy himself drugs. The second type of human sex trafficking is survival trafficking. This is where someone couldn't necessarily make it through life without the money that they get from sex trafficking. An example of this would be a runaway teen doing this so they can provide for themselves since they don't have their parents to do it anymore. Another example would be an orphan or a foster kid doing it to feel loved in a kind of a sickening way. The third and final form of sex trafficking is gang control. This is when gang members sell their bodies for sex so they can earn money to buy weapons or other necessities for their gangs. This is how men are really getting involved. The number one goal of any sex trafficker is to trick as many people as possible into joining the industry. Sex trafficking is basically slavery. This photo represents a girl who has a barcode on her head because she feels like property. She's a part of sex trafficking and she's constantly sold and bought for a profit for somebody else. Although many people think that slavery ended with the 13th Amendment, that isn't exactly the case. In fact, there are more slaves in America today than there were during the Civil War, the 16th or 17th century, or during Roman times. The selling and trading of humans has hit an all-time high. Holly Smith is a part of the AT&T Prevention Program, and she states, while everyone can be involved with sex trafficking, there are certain populations that are extremely gullible to the trafficking tactics. This may include undocumented migrants, homeless youth, or oppressed or impoverished individuals. Sex traffickers target these people because they know they are more vulnerable to recruitment tactics. But anyone can be affected by sex trafficking. For example, Kim is a middle-class 16-year-old girl who got mad at her parents one day, so she ran away. She had no money and no job, so as soon as she met a woman on the street who offered her a job as a dancer, she was willing to take it. When she arrived at the address given to her, she realized that it was actually a pimp's house. And when she tried to leave, they said they would kill her if she ran away. Out of fear, she stayed and was sold for drugs and put into the sex trafficking industry. She didn't get out until she turned 28 years old. Human trafficking is growing in the United States. It gets larger and larger every day, and every day a teen is affected by it. Teens tend to suffer from what I call the Superman effect, and it's where they feel invincible and that nothing bad will ever happen to them until they hear about stories of when it really does, or when it happens in their own community. They're never going to believe that it's a problem. So I believe that America really needs to start educating teens about it so that they know how to avoid situations that could get them caught up in sex trafficking. We need to educate our teens before it's too late.